Good morning and welcome to the July 27th, 2023 meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District Board. Would you please call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Vice Chair Aquino,
Here.
Director Daniels,
Here.
Director Desmond,
Here.
Director Frost, Director Guerra, Director Hume,
Here.
Chair Kennedy,
Here.
Director Laloe, Director Maple,
Here.
Director Papineau,
Here.
Director Cerna,
Here.
Director Singh Allen. Actually, Director Singh Allen is trying to get in. Okay. Director Terry, Director Vang. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Does the clerk have announcements?
Members of the public are encouraged to observe the meeting in real time at metro14live.saccounty.gov, participate in person via Zoom video or teleconference line, and by submitting written comments to boardclerk@airquality.org. Comments will be delivered to the Board of Directors. Public comments regarding matters under the jurisdiction of the Board of Directors will be acknowledged by the chairperson, distributed to the Board of Directors, and included in the report. This meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District is cablecast live without interruption on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast Consolidated Communications, and AT&T U-verse cable systems. This meeting is being closed captioned and will be live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting will be repeated on Sunday, July 30th, 2023 at 12 p.m. on Channel 14.
Thank you very much. That takes us to our first item.
The first item on the agenda is the consent calendar, and we have items 1 through 4.
Are there any members of the board that have any questions or would like to pull an item on consent at this time? Seeing none, are there any members of the public who would like to address the board on an item on consent?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll move consent.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Director Desmond, second by Director Maple. Please call the roll.
Vice Chair Aquino,
Aye.
Director Daniels,
Aye.
Director Desmond,
Aye.
Director Frost, Director Guerra, Director Hume, Chair Kennedy,
Aye.
Director Laloe, Director Maple,
Aye.
Director Papineau,
Aye.
Director Cerna,
Aye.
Director Singh Allen.
Yes.
Thank you. Director Terry, Director Vang. The consent calendar passes.
Thank you. Let the record show that Director Frost has arrived. And that takes us to item number 5, the Air Pollution Control Officer presentation, or otherwise known as the stationary sources presentation, I think.
So we have Amy Roberts here to give the APUSO presentation. Give me 1 second and I will pull it up.
Thank you, Selena. Good morning, Chair Kennedy and members of the board. My name is Amy Roberts, and I am the division manager of what we now call the Engineering and Compliance Division. We've actually gone through a name change recently of our division. We think it accurately describes what we do. And as you know, Dr. Ayala is out on a very well-deserved vacation today, so myself and Rafe Porter from the Transportation and Climate Change Division will be giving the updates for him on his behalf today. And we can go to the next slide, Selena. Thank you. All right, so the first item that we wanted to bring to your attention today is the biomass conference that's being presented. It's being put on by the Basin-Wide Control Council. This is the 9 Air District Council the Sac Metro sits on, and this is a council that ranges from Shasta County all the way down to our county. And their main duties, if you recall it, there was a presentation earlier this year, but they do manage all of the smoke management in the Northern Valley. It's an air basin with similar air patterns. They also do other air quality activities. But one of the big ambitions of the BCC this year was to bring biomass to the forefront, bring attention to this item because biomass, you might be aware, has dwindled. The opportunities for using it has dwindled in past years, and yet this is really the time when we need to bring attention to biomass and make sure that we're sparking attention and making sure that that's a resource that's being used. This is probably the first time that a conference of this nature has been put together by the BCC, so it is a big deal. The BCC conference is going to highlight agricultural biomass. There's a lot of other sources of biomass, forest biomass, waste streams that can be converted into other products, but the BCC obviously is a region that is very heavily, there's a lot of agricultural lands, and also because the BCC really cares about smoke management. So you can imagine biomass, and especially agricultural biomass, makes a lot of sense because this is a renewable resource. It's something that every year there's going to be a crop out there harvested and crop residue. It can either be burned or it can be turned into alternative projects. Think biochar for soil amendment, so that's going right back into agricultural lands. Think biofuels, hydrogen. There's a lot of opportunities for using biomass, and to do it in a way that will improve air quality locally, reducing those smoke impacts to local communities, but also meeting some of the bigger climate change goals that the state has. So it does make a lot of sense for the BCC to focus in on biomass, and this is the year to do it. You should have all received a save the date, and that was in the end of June. So hopefully you did receive that. Please reach out to Selena or myself. We can make sure and you get that information. We'll also have a registration email coming out, so hopefully you can consider that. It's October 5th and 6th. It will be in Winters at the Hotel Winters. Really nice venue, and we're really hoping to target as many policymakers, regulators, researchers. We're looking to bring businesses to the table so we can have a really robust discussion, a lot of interactive sessions that we're hoping to put together, and some very valuable speakers as well. I would like to also thank Director Guerra, who's not here at the moment, but he's already been in the works. He's our BCC member. He's also an ARB board member, so he's been already active trying to promote this. So any opportunity you have to do the same, please, we would appreciate it. As I mentioned, biomass can be used for the production of hydrogen, so I wanted to use that as a great segue where I can turn the presentation over to Rafe Porter. We have other important hydrogen efforts going on in the region. So Rafe, I'll let you go ahead and take it away, and Selena, you can move it to the next slide.
Great. Thanks, Amy, and
Thank you.
good morning, Chair Kennedy and members of the board. A couple of years ago, so in 2000, the Air District started to work with Sierra Northern Railroad on a conversion of an old diesel switcher locomotive to a hydrogen locomotive. At the time, it was the first of its kind in this technology. It was a very exciting project. We've been promoting it and continuing to work with Sierra Northern on this switcher locomotive. Fast forward to this year, we had applied with Sierra Northern again, and the partners listed there on the screen for additional switcher locomotives. The one that we had is moving along great, and so we wanted to see if there was an opportunity to expand upon that. We were very happy to hear that we received a grant of $15.6 million from CalSTA in order to convert 3 additional switcher locomotives, again, moving the old diesel locomotives into hydrogen fuel cell. And this includes as well as about 2,000 feet of track for testing of the technology. So we're very excited about this receiving the funds, but I wanted to underscore a few points that this project really means. One, I think it's a really underscores the work that the Air District's been doing in the transportation sector. We've really become known as the leader in moving our transportation to zero emission vehicles. And I think this is just another example of that. It also really underscores the trust that the state, and specifically CalSTA, this is our first grant that the Air District has received from CalSTA, but the trust that they've placed in the district to implement this this very large project. So kudos to the team, the transportation and climate change team, in not only being a leader in this, but also having the faith of the state in order to move in this. The other thing that it really underscores, and Amy just did a great transition and alluded to this, is just the role that hydrogen is going to play, not only in our economy, but more specifically the green economy as we move forward in this. As I mentioned, and that's kind of why I started with, there was just one locomotive. Now we're going to have 4, and I think it's really a testament to where hydrogen is moving in our economy, and specifically in the transportation sector. And as we're moving forward, we're just starting to see larger and larger dollars invested in this. So we started with that smaller one, and now we're up to this total project is just under $20 million. And this is going to be followed by other projects as well. There's the federal hydrogen fuel cell hub project that's going to be coming down, and California is well positioned to receive one of those, and we're playing a large part in that here in Sacramento. And other projects we know are coming out. This board approved $7 million for hydrogen fueling stations a couple of months ago, and again, just underscoring that the hydrogen is playing a big part of that. So again, to recap, $15.6 million for 3 switcher locomotives and 2,000 square feet of track at the Port of Sacramento and West Sacramento, the total project of $20 million. We will continue to work with Sierra Northern on this and other opportunities, and continue to keep the board apprised of other opportunities and as this moves along. That concludes this presentation, and I'll kick it back over to Amy to see if there's anything else on the APCO report. Thank you.
That concludes our Air Pollution Control Officer's report, but we're happy to answer any questions that you might have on these items.
Thank you. Director Daniels.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to make a comment that I'm so glad to hear the word hydrogen 72 times there. So that's the future. That's the future, and I hope we continue to embrace it more. We hear the word more, and we see the involvement of hydrogen more and more, and that's the realistic approach to going to a cleaner fuel source. So I'm very happy to hear that report, and very happy to hear you use the word hydrogen 72 times there. Good job.
I couldn't agree more, and so the board is aware. I've been working with Dr. Ayala, Jaime, and Rafe to put together a workshop for the board on what's out there in hydrogen, what the reality is, where it's going, what the opportunities are, and we're looking forward to doing that at this point in September. So thank you very much, Ms. Roberts, and thank you, Mr. Porter. Next item, please.
The next item on the agenda, the discussion calendar, item number 6, Transportation Incentive Program Update, and I have Mike Newberg on the line to give his presentation.
Good morning. Wait for the presentation to come up. Good morning. My name is Mike Newberg. I'm a program supervisor within the Transportation and Climate Change Division, and I wanted to just give you a brief summary and update of what we're doing within our Transportation and Infrastructure Incentives program. So let's move on to the next slide here. Okay. So to start off with here, we're receiving on an annual basis now about $15 to $20 million, and those funds are coming from a variety of sources, most of which you're familiar with. There's probably 5 funding sources we have here, which is the Community Air Protection Funds. We have our Carl Moyer funding, our farmer funds, the DMV funds, and then of course our CCAP program. Many of these programs have been around for a long period of time. And these funds support 3 key categories that we do within the incentive side of our vehicles shop. First off is the on-road trucks and buses. That's one of the key parts that we end up doing for whether it's buses out on the street or trucks that are operating on the road. We've got the off-road equipment category. We've done a lot of agricultural tractors and construction equipment. And as you just heard on the presentation, we do locomotives as well. And we're moving into advanced technologies in both the on-road and off-road segments here with zero emission technologies. And then the third segment that we've moved into in the last few years is infrastructure. Actually, we've done infrastructure even in the past as well, but we've really been hitting pretty heavy on that. Because in order to support those advanced technologies going to zero emission, you need the electric vehicle infrastructure in order to do that, or even some of the fueling infrastructure as well. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay. To date, we've done about, over the last 25 years now, we've invested over $300 million in the region with our programs. And they've produced, more importantly, they've produced a significant reduction in NOx, about 20% from a regional-wide basis. That's not a small number when you stop and think about it for what we've done over the history of the program. And along those lines, besides just the emission reductions, which are very important for our community, it's also provided reliable equipment for businesses so they could continue to operate in an efficient manner. And it also stimulates economic growth, whether it's with our local dealers or just with the businesses around here. So it's just a plus no matter how you look at it from what we've done over that time frame. We've been moving now into what we'll call the innovative technology, and we're trying to create new markets. As you've all been hearing here over the last few years now, we've moved into the advanced zero and near zero emission equipment technology. And we're really starting to get into some areas of success. It's still in the infancy stage, but we're actually starting to see projects even in what we call the heavy duty segment. Recently, a couple months back, we celebrated the Pepsi Tesla trucks and the megawatt chargers. And that's moving into the true heavy duty realm and being able to provide, whether it's grocery stores or other areas on the road, we're showing that this technology can be done and implemented in other areas. Another key part from a regional perspective is this funding is available to all communities in Sacramento area. We've had an emphasis, of course, within the priority populations, which would be our disadvantaged communities, but we are at least, but we're making sure that the funding is available to all because everybody does need a chance to be able to not only improve air quality, but also improve their business element as well. Let's move on to our next slide here. One of the other elements that we're moving into now, we're going to cover a couple elements here on our incentive programs that we're moving into, and they're probably newer areas as compared to maybe prior areas, is workforce development. We are recognizing that with zero emission technologies and these advanced technologies in general, there's going to need to be a new workforce around that actually can repair this equipment and service the equipment and do what we need to do in order to move forward with it. So we are working on a workforce development plan. We know that there's a need for what we'll call trade skills, whether it's, with the electricians and construction workers and other trades. When you're installing EVSE, you're going to need a variety of contractors that can go out and do it. There's computer systems that are needed in order to run the software. And so all of that is important here. We are working with the local school, with Sava School and Blue Dot Energies to develop electric vehicles and electric vehicle infrastructure curriculums, even within the high school and college areas. And the photo we have here as well is something that we've been touting here recently is the EV Lowrider project. We're converting a classic car in the early 1960s over to a zero emission car. And the students have been working with their instructors to convert the car over to zero emission. And they've been learning a lot about the zero emission technology, the batteries, the electric motors, and developing all those trade skills to go along with it. So, and they're excited about it as well. And I think that's the key part about it is that they're excited and converting over from there. So we'll move on now to our next pillar. Next slide. Another part of our incentive programs is we are working more in partnerships. We have the regional 4-agency partnership between SMUD and Regional Transit and SACOG and us. We're using those partnerships to help to further the development and have a coordinated effort in benefiting our communities, moving into areas like mobility hubs and trying to take care of some of the transportation deserts that are within some of our disadvantaged communities. Of course, we are also working very closely with the city and county of Sacramento on those efforts as well. And we are reaching out to our community-based organizations. They've listed a few here with Green Tech and Community Resource Projects in La Familia. And of course, our agency is working with other agencies as those opportunities come about. I think we'll move on to the next slide. Of course, with all of these projects that we're doing and the work that we're doing and benefiting the communities here, the new technology still has challenges along the way. And this technology is still being developed. While we've heard a lot about the battery cars over the last 10 years, it's still in kind of it's not necessarily a pilot stage, but it is still in the beginning stages of what we're seeing here. And as a result of that, especially in the heavy duty segment, we are finding that sometimes vehicles are not always operating the way we expect them to. And so there's repairs that need to be done. We've had some times where charging issues are an element. And so there's needing to be software updates and other things that come about. That's created some challenges because on a day in and day out basis, once you acquire these vehicles, you still need them to operate on a regular basis and you can't have long extended downtimes. We have had some supply chain issues as well. COVID didn't help, and then there's been some other manufacturing delays that created long lead times for equipment to be delivered. And even with the infrastructure that supports these zero emission vehicles, sometimes when we're installing the infrastructure, it can take a while to actually get installed. There might be plan reviews from a city perspective. There may be things that SMUD has to review in terms of the permits that are needed on the site. And so all these things can add to the complications of getting these projects up and running in a timely fashion. Another element that we have to address over the long term is going to be the power grid readiness and resiliency. We do know that in extreme heat situations, obviously there could be times where power may be not as much available to help charge cars back up. Wildfire situations can obviously create situations where maybe electricity is not in demand. And so as we heard already from one of our board members here this morning, hydrogen may be a potential solution for some of these elements that we're coming into. So these are just, we talk a lot about the highlights and everything, how they're going great, but we also just wanted to kind of give you a realistic approach that there are some things that we have to overcome as well as we're moving forward in this. So let's move on to the next slide here. So at this point in time, I wanted to just kind of share with you our most recent solicitation, and it occurred from the time frame of November through beginning of November through the end of June. We just recently closed it off due to being oversubscribed. That's actually good news. So we had about 22 million. Well, actually, I'll cover that in the next slide. But we were oversubscribed, so we ended up closing that off. And I wanted to share a little bit about some of the outreach we did. We went with mass media through email blasts. We did newsletters. We did workshops, and we worked with our AB 617 community. And of course, we had word of mouth to help get the word out about this solicitation. When the applications were received, if they were within a disadvantaged community or an AB 1390 designated community, which is similar to an environmental justice community, they would move towards the top of the line. And if we had applications that were funded and delivered or ready to be funded and delivered more on a first come, first served basis, we would give priority to those that were ready to roll as well, especially if they met the other top two bullets there on there. So that was kind of how we worked on terms of ranking and determining applications. And then, of course, applications that were funded with our community air protection funds, we would also send out a notice to the community as well for a review and final selection before we would determine funding for those projects. We can move on to the next slide here. So here's kind of what happened from the solicitation in terms of results, which is always what a lot of people are looking at. We had over 100 applications come in with a request of 63 million. And I think, and we selected 75. So that was actually good news, is we were able to fund most of the applications with the 22 million that we had available. And I think, the key point coming out of this is that it still shows that we have a high demand for these funds. And there's always a need for additional funds. We will never be able to fund everything, but we want to be good stewards with the tax money that we do receive and make sure that we fund the best projects that are available to help support our community. The remaining projects that we have, they are placed on a pending list in the event that, any of the applications we selected for funding for some reason don't come to fruition. We would go immediately to a ranked list on that pending list to pull those applications in. We are in the process of getting those awarded projects listed on our website. We don't have all of them listed up there yet, but we are in the process of doing that before we go down that path there. So, and with that, we'll move on to our last slide. And then these are just some sample photos of the projects that we've done here. You can see that we've got Elk Grove and Twin Rivers are two of our key school districts. Sac City and many others are also participating in the school bus programs. And so we have a couple photos of that. We've even funded zero emission ag tractors now. They're on the smaller side, but we are moving into the off-road element. And just a photo of some infrastructure. And of course, we have the Pepsi trucks there, which is showing that the big rigs are actually moving into zero emission as well. And with that, I will close with any questions and answers at this point.
Are there any questions of the board? Seeing none. Are there any public comments?
No, Chair, not at this time.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate the report.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda, item number 7, performance management and the hybrid work environment. And I have Denise Booth in chambers to give a presentation.
Good morning, Chair Kennedy and directors. My name is Denise Booth. I'm the Human Resources Officer. I want to thank you for this opportunity to come chat with you today about the hybrid work environment, performance management, and a little bit about the facility assessment. Next slide, please. So COVID-19 initiated the transition to primarily remote work, and that's not unique. Most businesses and agencies did that. But since then, the district has successfully implemented a hybrid work model where employees can work some from home and some in the office. Our employees come into the office a day a week, and employees can come into the office, of course, more if they need to or if they want to. All the while, the district has maintained productivity and continuity of operations. Next slide. Employees enjoy a hybrid work model. It provides a better work-life balance. Instead of sitting in traffic or on a train, employees can walk down the hall from their home office to the kitchen to start dinner or go on a run and otherwise engage in personal activities. In-office days allow for that in-person collaboration and team building. We don't need as much office space as we used to because not all employees are in the office at the same time. As with any change, there are challenges, but the district has successfully risen to these challenges, such as modifying how managers interact with their teams and how relationships are built or how employees feel connected. We've been developing training tools to successfully operate in a hybrid remote environment. Next slide. So what I'd like to share are some of the things that the district has done to ensure the success of the district in this model. We've maintained standard office hours with regular check-ins with staff, and new technology has been deployed so employees can work successfully regardless of the desk that they're sitting at. Our Information Services Department has worked diligently to ensure that employees have the tools and access that they need. Laptops have been given to every employee for a seamless transition from home, back to the office, back to home. The access is the same regardless of where they're sitting. We've utilized Zoom like most, but we also utilize Teams, and we can do instant messaging and video chats, and we actually can see the availability of staff right from our computer. The divisions have dedicated in-office days, which promote that team building and collaboration, and we've ensured effective communication all along. Prior to the pandemic, the district held all-hands meetings every 6 months. At the beginning of the pandemic, those all-hands meetings were held monthly, and now they're held quarterly, and we alternate between in-person and online. Social events continue, such as potlucks and team-building activities. We recently held a picnic, and we even had an ice cream social. Next slide, please. So even before the pandemic, district managers would report on district strategic initiatives and goals in the annual budget report. The district would track and report on progress on key metrics. And this has allowed the district to be uniquely positioned to transition to remote and now hybrid work. Managers already knew how many permits needed to be issued and how many inspections needed to be conducted. Air quality measurements were needed, and managers hold staff accountable to ensure the work of the district continues to be done. Incentive programs are administered, new programs and regulations are addressed, rules are developed, and bills are paid on time. Next slide, please. Thank you. But we're not done. The district is working to strengthen our performance metrics. We're looking at district strategic goals and initiatives and identifying division and departmental goals in support of those, and then tying individual employees' tasks and goals to those. And not only will this enhance the employee's feeling of connection to the agency, it creates a data-driven approach to demonstrate the district continues to meet or exceed its goals and objectives. This is now underway, and we expect this analysis to be done by the end of the fall, with the metrics rolled out as part of the 24-25 budget process. Next slide. Thank you. The district continues to expand training and support to ensure employees have the tools they need to be successful. New tools are underway. The IS department is upgrading our intranet site, and the area project will provide in-field access for staff and enhance customer online experience. We continue to look at best practices of working and managing in a hybrid environment. At a recent leadership meeting, our managers and supervisors shared with each other what's working for them and engaging their team and in holding employees accountable to the work that needs to be done. The district continues to provide opportunities for employees to get to know each other and to feel a sense of community. We've even been rolling out some DEI efforts, at recent all-hands meetings, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And at all-hands meetings, we had 2 employees give presentations on the Lunar New Year and the Persian New Year, and both of those presentations were very well received and very well done. It helps allow employees to get to know one another and strengthen that sense of belonging. Next slide, please. And now is the perfect time to do a facility assessment and to look at our footprint. Our facility is too large for our needs, and our tenant has recently given notice. So now is the perfect time to ask 2 questions. 1, should we right-size our footprint? And 2, do we want to get out of the landlord business? There's a group of key employees who are working with a real estate professional to look at options, and as you know, there's an ad hoc committee of the board that will convene in September that will provide guidance on that process. All the while, we've kept employees informed and engaged. In fact, we had a space planning committee where we had representatives from each of the divisions that went out to look at other facilities to see what other agencies are doing, what's working for them in a hybrid work model. And they've put together a list of things that they like about that and what will help them be even more successful in this model, whether we remain at the facility where we are or we move. So to recap, hybrid work is working, and the district continues to maintain productivity levels and continuity of operations. So that's the extent of my presentation. I want to thank you for your time and open it up for questions.
Thank you very much. I want to tell you, I appreciate the thoroughness of your report. Every time I had a question, you'd turn the slide and you'd answer that question. So thank you very much. Is there any questions from the board?
Director
Yes,
Aquino
Director
has
Maple.
her hand raised as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just want to say that thank you for the presentation. I think that it's really good to know that this is working for our employees, and we do a hybrid model in our office, and we found that it really helps my employees feel like valued at work, have a work-life balance. I enjoy it myself when I switched over during the pandemic. So I think it's quality of life, but also air quality, right? When we don't have people sitting in traffic and driving their cars to and from work just to sit at a desk to do work that they can do at home, I think it it provides a benefit to the environment as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Aquino.
Thank you. Forgive my ignorance. I have actually never been to the district's physical office. So do members of the public, like if you needed some sort of permit or something, you were a business, does anybody just walk in off the street? I'm just, I appreciate that this is working for our employees. I just want to make sure that we're also meeting the needs of the public. And so just curious about that.
Yes, our office is open and the public can come in. I believe we get very little foot traffic. Jamil, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. Hi, Jamil Moons, Division Manager for Administrative Services. Director Aquino, yeah, we staff the front office, so we are open to the public. We converted back during the COVID time period to Monday through Thursday. So we did switch Friday to a close to the public, but we still operate. What we wanted to do at that time was make sure our administrative staff had some opportunity to participate in the remote work environment too. And we found that the public access, really diminished, but we put services kind of outside the door. We, made everything sort of work. At this time, our office is staffed 5 days a week, even though we're technically kind of closed on the Friday to the public. Otherwise, the traffic has gone down quite a bit, and probably the majority of the traffic is within the permitting section in Amy's group, and she has staffed it to make sure that people are available. So if somebody comes in, or we can get them connected up on a phone. We have a little office room where they can come in. So we've taken great pains to make sure that we are available to the public and that there's no skip in continuity of operations to make sure that the public gets exactly what they need in this environment. And I think the public has been actually receptive to this too. Even our operations have changed to be able to do things more remotely with our public, so they don't have to necessarily come in. And I think, again, Amy and Jaime's group in transportation and field operations have been very creative in trying to create more flexibility for our customers so that they can also take advantage of this kind of hybrid environment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I will say, first of all, I completely agree with Director Maple and her comments, and it's good to see the paradigm shift, and not just here, but in throughout our society, of looking at goals and objectives rather than seat time. It's sometimes harder for managers, but it's a direction we should have been going in a long time. So I appreciate that and the thoroughness of your report again.
Thank you very much.
Next item, please.
The next item on the agenda, item number 8, the CCAT program update, and I have Rafe Porter on the line to give a presentation.
Hello again, Chair Kennedy and members of the board. Rafe Porter, Program Manager for Transportation and Climate Change, and I'm going to be talking about CCAT, which is the Sacramento Emergency Clean Air and Transportation Fund Program. And I promise not to use hydrogen in this presentation. So if you could just go ahead and move to the next slide. Thank you. So as I mentioned, this is the Sacramento Emergency Clean Air and Transportation Program. It's a partnership that the air districts had with SACOG, the Sacramento Area Council of Governments, since 2000. The original purpose of CCAT was to help us maintain or hit our air quality attainment standards as outlined in the State Implementation Plan, or SIP. This is a 6-county funding program, so we cover all of the SACOG counties of El Dorado, Placer, Sacramento, Sutter, Yolo, and Yuba. The initial goal of this was to reduce NOx, and largely we were focused on converting diesel buses to natural gas, as well as heavy duty, so the semis, converting them to either natural gas or to cleaner burning diesel. Next slide, please. As technology has progressed and the market has changed, the program has had to evolve with it. This program has kind of underscored the innovation at the division in the transportation sector. One of the first changes that we made to the program was to get rid of the scrap requirement. So many of our incentive or funding programs require an older vehicle be turned in order to qualify for funds for a new vehicle. We got rid of this requirement as we really wanted to expand into new or smaller fleets to give them the opportunity to receive funds to transition as well. The next move we made was to move away from that sole focus on NOx reduction and really look at how do we transition our fleets into near zero and zero emission vehicles. We really did this even ahead of a lot of the mandates from CARB. As we saw the technology was moving more in this direction, we were starting to get a lot of requests from the market. We thought it was good to transition the CCAT program into this near zero and zero emission space. As Mike alluded to in a previous the previous presentation, we still have a lot of funds that are available that require a scrap requirement and that don't necessarily have to move to the zero and near zero emission space, but we really wanted to have CCAT focus on that. A change that we made to the program just this year in working with SACOG was to include light duty vehicles and mobility services in the program. Again, we were starting to get a lot of requests for these types of projects and starting to see the market move more and more in this direction. And the mobility services piece specifically is addressing things like microtransit and car share, as we're starting to see the success of our community car share that the district overruns. And as we saw gig car share pull out of Sacramento, we wanted to find ways to provide additional services and additional funds for these types of services. So we expanded the program to include these as well. Next slide, please. We love to talk about the benefits of CCAT, and I've already mentioned a little bit about the new and expanding fleets, that this really offers up opportunity there. It's also been great to work with community-based organizations and small nonprofits. A lot of times they don't have the resources to move into this space, so providing an incentive where they don't, again, have to scrap a vehicle, but have an opportunity to move into that has been fantastic. A recent example of this is we just wrapped up a an incentive contract with the Sacramento Tree Foundation so that they could move some of their vehicles into this zero emission space, and provided them some infrastructure as well. This program is stackable with many state incentives. CCAT is brought through a CMAQ, which is the Congestion Mitigation Air Quality Funds at the federal level. Those funds come to SACOG, and then they're given to the Air District to administer. So they can be stacked with a lot of different statewide incentives. So it builds upon the ability to move into these vehicles as well. We've also been able to use these funds as match towards grants against statewide grants. So we've been able to use CCAT to purchase vehicles as match in Caltrans grants, CARB grants, Energy Commission, CalSTA, as well as OPR. We've tried to make the application process a little bit easier. The fact that we actually control these funds and the program with SACOG, we have the ability to make that process a little bit easier. And as the last point there says, even though these funds are federal, we do consider this a local program since we're actually able to set our guidelines. We don't need to work with CARB or any other state agencies. We're able to actually just set these, and it gives us a lot of flexibility in how we want to administer and run the program. Next slide, please. So this presentation is not just looking back at history and what the program is all about. We really are looking forward as well. We have $5 million that we're about to open up in the fall of 2023 for a CCAT solicitation. We just wanted to make sure that a lot of those changes were in place, and I think we're ready for that now. When we do open these funds up, we will work with our AB 617 community to see the types of projects that they want to see. And as with many of our incentive programs and as we've done in the past, we'll work with our community's steering committee to help design what that solicitation will look like and some of the projects that come through with that. As I mentioned, this is a 6-county funding program, so we will work with the other air districts within those 6 counties to make sure that they're getting the projects that they would want to see in their communities, and working with them on what that solicitation would look like for them. As the map shows, we do break down the CCAT funds based on population, and you can see the percentage breakdown there, with Sacramento County receiving the largest share of that at 61% of the CCAT funds going there. So that concludes my presentation on CCAT, and I will take any questions you have at this time.
Any questions from the board? Seeing and hearing none, do we have any public comment or questions?
No, Chair, not at this time.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Porter.
Thank you.
That takes us to board ideas, comments, and AB 1234 reports. Anything from the board? Do we have any public comment?
No, Chair.
Then we're adjourned.